Hello, everyone. My name is Brandy Leonard. I'm the group leader for group number 4, and I'm going to be going over chapter 2 and 3. So, chapter 2 is Control is Not Coercion. So, in chapter 2, Sidman discussed multiple things about how not all control is considered coercion. So, he started off by discussing behavior control. So, what is behavior control? Behavior control is what refers to facts that show whether there is a right to direct or control someone. So, some examples that we might see in the real world would be signs in the bathroom reminding workers to wash their hands before returning to work. No speeding when driving to reduce car accidents. So yeah, those are just a couple examples. Many people feel as though behavior control and coercion mean the same thing, and that is simply not the case. Behavior control is something that is a part of life. Sidman provided many different examples in the reading. In the reading, he pointed out how society fears behavior control because they compare that to coercion many times. Many people look to see how they can get away from it, but let's just be honest, there's no way you can get, away from behavior control. But behavior control is not always a negative thing to have in society. He went on discussing behavior and its consequences. We all know that behavior is any kind of action that someone does. You know, I don't know, talking, running, hitting. I mean, I can go on and on, but any type of behavior, any type of action, I'm sorry, is considered a behavior, and a consequence is the response that they get from it. So, depending on the consequence, is going to determine if the behavior from the individual will be repeated in the future or not. He used the example of the light switch being turned on and off, but my example would be, in the behavior, we're going to use a key to turn or to unlock the door. The consequence is the door is going to open. We're not going to keep using the same key if the door is not going to open, right? Yeah. He went on stating how for every behavior there's a consequence that follows it, whether it's a good consequence or a bad consequence. Society believes that consequences that we provide can oftentimes lead to coercion. And again, that is not the case. For example, we're forced to study for a test, so the consequence can be us getting an A. That's not bad. So I wouldn't consider that, coercion. So using this word all the time. So what exactly is coercion? It's anything forcing someone to do something against, their will. So that's what that means. So moving on, Sidman went on discussing the types of reinforcement that we all, already know. So we have positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and punishment. So we all know positive reinforcement, does not go hand in hand with coercion. That's just not it. Positive reinforcement is, The individual is doing something that we want them to do. So we're going to provide them praise to reinforce that good behavior. Negative reinforcement is removing something to increase the desired behavior. Example for that would be, let me think. So we're in the classroom and you tell your students, if everybody gets an A on the test today, you will not have homework, tonight. So the whole class gets an A. You're taking away that homework for tonight, which is going to increase that behavior. They're going to want to get an A on the test. Punishment is taking something away that has the potential to be a positive reinforcement. I know in our field, in the ABA field, we do not encourage or want to do punishment, provide punishment to our kiddos. So coercion is entered when our actions are followed by negative reinforcement or punishment, never positive reinforcement. Sidman went on to discussing the functions of behavior when discussing reinforcement. So at times we can provide reinforcement unknowingly to behaviors that we want to decrease. A lot of times, like the examples he provided, teachers or parents not knowingly providing that attention that the child is giving, that you want them to decrease that behavior. So, for example, if a child is hitting somebody, instead of withholding that attention, you're going to provide him the attention, so he's going to keep on doing it. Sidman then went on stating that we want to know why something is, when we want to know why someone is acting in a particular way, we ask, what are the consequences of their behaviors, of their actions? So when reading this, I instantly thought of, ABC data, actually. So, the antecedent, the behavior, and the consequence. So that is chapter 2. Okay. Oops, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm just busy talking away. Did not move on to the next slide. But yeah, those are the types of reinforcement: positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and punishment. All right. Now let's move on to chapter 3. Avery Laboratory or Glass House. Okay. So Sidman started this chapter by discussing how we have to take control over our own selves first. He began listing different examples, such as, quitting smoking on your own, dieting, which is a big one because I'm doing it right now. And how to teach yourself how to step out and engage with others to increase your social skills. And the list continues. Sidman then broke down what it actually means to conduct an experiment. So experiments at times get mixed up with the test. Okay. There's a lot more that goes into an experiment than a test. In order for something to be considered a good experiment, the experimenter must state what he or she exactly did so that another experimenter can come behind them and do everything the exact same way and get their data, and hopefully it matches up. But when conducting an experiment, they must identify the behavior that they are wanting to look at. It must contain independent, dependent variables, exact measurements, and a strong data collection. And those are just, a few things that goes, into an experiment. In the chapter, he listed so many things that have to be considered. Um, so yeah, that's basically it. So my question to you guys is, how do you think the world would be if we did not have behavior control? How do you think society would respond or, act to that? Just a wild question, but let me know. Thank you.